Hello everyone, hope we're all doing well. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Matt. I'm part of the Well as part of the Whitefriars Fellowship, and I'm a doctor working as a GP. So that might be why I'm kind of weighing in on well-being front. So the 10 points that we've got outlined in the Great Dreams acrostic are probably enough to fuel conversations in home groups for a year. So I'm not going to cover a huge amount of ground here, but I thought I would touch on the seventh point, which is resilience, a bit. The current pandemic has given the majority of people one of the toughest years of their lives, and it's in those tough times that our resilience gets tested. So at work, I've had to watch as people's reserves of resilience ebb and atrophy and wane until they've got nothing left. In Ecclesiastes 3, we're told how there's a time for everything in a season, so both laughing and crying, listening and speaking, and rather prophetically for these times, a time for embracing and a time to refrain from embracing. And in the context of emotional well-being, there are really important seasons, good times and hard times, which everybody is going to experience at some point, and resilience is like the summer's bumper crop that keeps us going, keeps us sustained during the winter months, like a grizzly bear laying down fat for hibernation or something. Now, I know it sounds bleak, but the truth is that at some point in the future, life's going to bring along one of something like a failed exam, a bereavement, a huge bill, an empty nest, a huge list of to-do things which are overwhelming, a hard diagnosis, a betrayal, a redundancy, something. As the motto of House Stark in Game of Thrones tells us succinctly, no matter how long your summer is, winter is coming. In fact, without those winters, you never learn the importance of resilience. We wouldn't describe a soldier as being resilient until they've been through the hard battles. So if we look at the great part of the Great Dreams acrostic, they all give us kind of ways to grow our resilience in preparation for such wintry times. So building relationships, giving to others, exercising, trying something new, practicing mindfulness. The overwhelming body of evidence behind each of these things is just staggering. They're the closest thing to a biopsychosocial panacea in existence. And the heartening thing for us as GPs almost has been to watch in the pandemic people really take on the opportunity to start getting into exercise or picking up a new hobby, re-establishing contact with old friends. But right now, as I said at the beginning of what I was saying, lots of people, myself included, have found that their reserves have dwindled to an all-time low. One positive take on this from a behavioural science point of view is to say that habits which are started and established during times of low motivation are more likely to endure than habits which we kick off when we're feeling at our most enthusiastic. So if you want to start bolstering your well-being in the midst of like the spiritual doldrums and times like these when it's tough, pick one of those 5 things, distill it down to the simplest possible step, and then turn that into a habit by attaching it to a reliable routine in your life. So, for instance, if you want to start exercising, then do squats every time you brush your teeth, or run on the spot every time you stick the kettle on. If you want to build relationships, call someone when you're on your commute to work, or send a text each time you're making your evening meal, attaching it to a reliable routine. And if you're doing something easy and start doing it when times are hard, there's much more chance that that's then going to be sustainable and flourish into something more. And it's those bits that kind of build our resilience. The thing I very often feel when I'm speaking to patients who are really struggling is just how much they'd stand to benefit from being part of the church. Partly because obviously we believe that true well-being can only come from our Father who created us and who knows us in mind-blowing detail. But particularly in this context, because the church, when it's spelt with a capital C, is a place of safety and compassion for people who are lost and isolated. I mean, I don't know if anyone's seen it, but the latest David Attenborough series features this segment on the musk oxen being hunted by a pack of Arctic wolves in the middle of the winter night. And if you want a picture of a resilient creature, a frost-covered musk ox is a pretty good one. So anyway, the pack of wolves are working to try and cause more and more panic among the oxen, until one of them eventually becomes sort of isolated from the rest of the herd and charges forwards. And watching the animal out on its own from the pack, even such a massive, strong ox, it looks like there's no chance of survival whatsoever. And then something happens. You watch as the herd of muskox see that one of their number is isolated and in peril, and they all move as one to envelop the separated animal back into the safety of their group. That's not a hard metaphor to unpack. I just feel like Jesus' church, our church, needs to be one which can still, in our coldest winter, our darkest night, our most zoomed out and bored of lockdown pandemic, still look out for others who are in real danger as a result of isolation, and to show them what it's like to be loved. I think it's something we've always been really good at, so just to kind of encourage us to keep going. Yeah. Stay safe, everyone.